April 12, 1942, 8:10 a.m., Lille, northern France. The cafe door opens and closes with a soft bell that never stops ringing. Porcelain cups clink, a coffee grinder growls to life. Outside, boots strike cobblestone in perfect rhythm, German marching cadence, close enough to feel through the floorboards. Émilie Laurent tightens her apron and steps behind the counter. Steam curls up from the espresso machine, fogging the front window just enough to blur the street. Through it, the facade of the former municipal building looms, now draped with a red banner and black eagle. Wehrmacht headquarters for the sector, less than 30 meters away. Inside, the first uniforms of the morning are already seated. Field grey tunics, polished jackboots, silver collar tabs that catch the light when they laugh. Oberst Vogel takes his coffee black, like yesterday, one of them says, loud, careless. Émilie nods. She never writes anything down. She pours. She listens. The officers talk as if the war cannot hear them. A Hauptmann complains about rail delays near Arras. A lieutenant jokes about replacing an exhausted battalion outside Cambrai. Someone mentions Infantry Regiment 489, rotation dates slipping because trucks are being diverted east. Émilie moves between tables, close enough to smell tobacco and leather, close enough to catch unit numbers murmured between sips. She smiles when spoken to. She keeps her eyes lowered. You can almost feel how carefully she breathes, slow, steady cadence, the way a musician memorizes rhythm. She wipes a table. The men lean in. Transfer confirmed by Friday. 2 companies, maybe 3. Friday, 2 companies, maybe 3. Her hands never pause. Outside, a Kubelwagen backfires and drives off toward the headquarters building. Inside, Émilie refills cups, clears saucers, and stores every word where no one can see it behind her eyes. By 9:02 a.m., the cafe is full. By 9:17, she knows more about German troop movements than most Allied intelligence officers ever will. And by nightfall, all of it will have to leave her head without a single mistake, because if even one detail slips, someone will die.
That night, 10:43 p.m., Émilie walks alone. The streets of Lille are blacked out, windows sealed with heavy cloth, lamps dimmed to pinpricks of yellow. Her shoes scuff softly against the pavement, each step measured. Curfew is in effect. Anyone stopped without papers risks disappearing before morning. She turns down a narrow side street and slips through an unmarked door. Inside, the air smells of damp stone and candle wax. A single bulb hangs from the ceiling. 3 people wait at a rough wooden table. No greetings, no names. Émilie removes her apron, folds it once, and sits. Only then does she close her eyes. In her mind, the cafe reappears. Table 1, nearest the window. Oberst Heinrich Vogel, 16th Infantry Division. Coffee black. Left hand shakes when he lights his cigarette. He mentioned delayed fuel deliveries and a command visit scheduled for the 15th. Table 2, Hauptmann Karl Metz, logistics officer. Loud voice, loose tongue. Complained about rerouted rail cars, all going east now. Confirmed Infantry Regiment 489, rotating out in 48 hours. Table 3, back corner, 2 lieutenants from Panzer Grenadier Battalion 64, fresh uniforms, new replacements. One boasted about learning the routes to Arras by heart. Émilie speaks slowly, precisely. Dates first, then ranks, then unit numbers. She never guesses. If she isn't sure, she says nothing. Across the table, a man writes fast, efficient shorthand. Every few seconds he looks up. "Say that again," he murmurs. Émilie doesn't open her eyes. She walks the cafe again in her mind, the scrape of chairs, the clink of spoons, the way Vogel's cigarette ash fell twice before he spoke about moving artillery batteries north. When she finishes, the room is silent. One of the listeners exhales, long and controlled. That confirms it, he says. They're thinning the west. Emilie opens her eyes. Only now does the weight hit her. Her memory, her voice, has just mapped an entire sector's weakness. She stands, pulls on her coat, and heads back into the night. Tomorrow morning she will return to the cafe. Same smile, same apron, same risk. But something has changed, because word is moving through the resistance now, and once intelligence starts working, it starts drawing attention.
May 3rd, 1942. 7:56 a.m. The bell over the cafe door rings and then doesn't stop. Emily looks up from the counter and feels it immediately. Not the usual flow of officers. Too many at once. Too quiet. 3 Feldgendarmes enter first, steel gorgets flashing under their collars, military police. Behind them, 2 men in plain coats, no insignia, no smiles. One carries a leather folder. The other scans the room the way a hunter scans a tree line. You can almost feel the temperature drop. Everyone remains seated, one of the Feldgendarmes says. Cups freeze halfway to mouths. Emily keeps pouring. Her pulse stays low, slow. She has practiced this. Fear is a luxury she cannot afford. The man with the folder steps forward. He opens it, not to read, but to show. A photograph, grainy, taken from across the street. The cafe. Her cafe. We have reason to believe, he says calmly, that information is being passed from this location. Silence stretches. A spoon slips from a trembling hand and clatters to the floor. The plainclothes man turns just slightly and looks directly at Emily. Not accusatory, curious. She meets his eyes for half a second too long, then looks down, just as she always does. Paupières, he says. She hands over her identification. The paper is real, issued in Vichy, verified months ago. It has passed inspections before, but inspections never look for memory. They search the cafe, they overturn chairs, they check the register, they tap walls, they question customers. An Oberleutnant bristles, offended by the delay. A major demands names. Rank pushes back against suspicion, and suspicion hesitates. Emily watches everything, stores everything. Because even now, even during this search, officers are talking. After the sweep, one mutters, then we move south. South. She files it away. After 20 minutes, the folder closes. For now, the man says, this will do. The Feldgendarmes leave. The bell rings again. Normal noise rushes back in, forced laughter filling the vacuum. But Emily's hands are shaking now, just slightly. That night, she doesn't go to the safe house. She takes a longer route, changes streets twice, pauses in a doorway to listen. And when she finally reaches the meeting point, only one person is waiting. You were mentioned, he says quietly. Not accused, mentioned. Somewhere, a list is forming, and her name is closer to the top than she thought. June 18th, 1942, 6:41 a.m. The cafe smells wrong. Too clean, too empty. Emilie pauses at the door, hand on the handle. Across the street, the headquarters building is already awake, windows lit, engines idling. A staff car waits with its door open, a driver smoking, watching nothing and everything. She steps inside. Only 2 tables are occupied, both by officers she doesn't recognize.
Their uniforms are immaculate, new. Their eyes follow her as she crosses the floor. This is not a coincidence. Behind the counter, the owner avoids her gaze. His hands shake as he pretends to polish glasses already spotless. He doesn't speak. Émilie ties her apron. She serves. The officers order slowly, deliberately. They let her stand there, waiting, as if measuring her reactions. One finally speaks. "You have an excellent memory," he says casually, stirring his coffee. "Isn't that what they say?" The spoon stops clinking. Émilie keeps her voice neutral. "I remember orders." He smiles, thin, controlled. "So do we." They talk openly now, about nothing important, about weather, about Paris, about how unreliable the French can be. It's bait. She takes none of it. She listens without collecting. For the first time in months, she chooses not to remember. At 7:12 a.m., the bell rings again. This time, it's the Feld Gendarmerie. They don't search. They don't shout. They stand aside as the plainclothesman enters the same one, with the leather folder. He closes the door behind him, locks it. "You've been very helpful to your friends without knowing it." Émilie feels something strange then. Relief, because it's over. She is escorted out through the back alley, past the trash bins and broken crates. A truck waits, canvas covered, engine running. As they guide her toward it, she glances once, just once, at the headquarters building. She notes the markings on the truck beside it, the unit patch on the driver's sleeve, the direction the staff cars are facing. Even now, especially now. The truck door slams shut, the engine roars, and inside the darkness, Émilie begins to memorize one last time. July 2nd, 1942, dawn, somewhere east of Lille. The train does not slow as it passes the junction. Inside one of its cars, men stand shoulder to shoulder, prisoners, laborers, suspects, packed so tightly that breathing becomes a shared rhythm. Émilie stands among them, hands bound, eyes open. She counts the seconds between rail clicks. She counts the turns. She watches the guards' insignia, Landesschützen, not front-line troops, older men, tired. One complains about being reassigned again, mentions a shortage near the coast, mentions Calais. She remembers it. She always remembers. Weeks later, the resistance cell in Lille receives confirmation, and convoy ambushed at the exact hour Émilie had once whispered. A headquarters struck after officers rotated out, just as she'd predicted months earlier. Rail schedules disrupted, a coastal unit exposed. No one ever hears her name. There is no document, no coded message, no photograph linking her to anything at all. Only patterns, only results. After the war, records will show that German troop movements in northern France were repeatedly compromised, too precisely, too consistently to be coincidence. Intelligence officers will argue over sources. Some will credit radio intercepts, others informants. None of them will mention a café. None will mention a waitress who never wrote a single word. But if you stand in Lille today, on a quiet street where a café once served bitter coffee to careless men, you can almost hear it, the low murmur of voices, the clink of porcelain, the sound of history being memorized, not on paper, but in a human mind that refused to forget.